Welcome to Kids Go Sports! Let's go!
The banner snapped in the wind above the gate, its bright letters promising a finish line Mia desperately wanted to reach. She jumped in place, ready to start. She took off at a sprint, but the playground track proved longer than it looked. By the second turn, the air felt thin. Her chest heaved, pulling in short, ragged gas that burned in her throat. Her legs turned into lead, heavy and unresponsive with every stride. Other children blurred past her, their steady rhythm mocking her own slowing pace. She forced her feet forward for 10 more yards before the motion stopped completely. Mia slumped onto a wooden bench near the edge of the path. She bowed her head, listening to the thud of her own heart against her ribs. She looked down at her feet, noticing the dust coating her shoes. The distance between where she sat and that finish line felt impossible to bridge. She wiped the sweat from her forehead and stared at the track, watching the others continue without her. The next morning, the park felt different. Mia returned to the track, not to sprint, but to breathe. She focused on the rhythm. Inhale, exhale, step. Her father stood by the sidewalk, waving his flag in time with her steady pace. Her mother waited with a dry towel, offering a nod as Mia completed her first full lap without stopping. Then came the teacher, placing a firm hand on her shoulder. "Small steps lead to big success," he said. The advice became her mantra. She trained every day. She pushed through the thick, gray morning fog that clung to the grass. She endured the heavy, stagnant heat of the afternoons. Her stride lengthened. The leaden weight in her legs vanished, replaced by a fluid, driving power. She ignored the burn in her lungs, focusing instead on the steady beat of her feet against the pavement. She was no longer just running, she was pacing. The playground was no longer an obstacle, but a proving ground. With every repetition, she carved a new path, turning effort into endurance until her body moved with the precision of a clock. The sky hung clear and wide above the track. A sharp, piercing whistle cut through the morning air, and the start line erupted. A dozen children surged forward in a chaotic wave of motion. Mia did not join the scramble. She held back, keeping her elbows in and her eyes fixed on the path stretching out before her. She remembered the rhythm. Inhale, exhale, step. 1 count, 2 counts, 3 counts. The pack ahead began to spread out, their initial burst of speed turning into desperate, heavy panting. Mia kept her stride measured, refusing to match their frantic pace. She felt the ground firm beneath her feet. Halfway through the loop, the first runner faltered. A boy slowed to a crawl, leaning his weight heavily against an oak tree, gasping for air. Mia surged past him, her breathing steady and light. A few yards later, she overtook a girl whose steps had become jagged and tired. The girl stumbled, her face flushed red with exertion, but Mia kept moving. Her heart ticked like a clock, perfectly synchronized with her feet. She was not racing against them anymore. She was racing against the distance, and for the first time, she felt like she was winning. The final bend loomed ahead, a sharp curve that demanded everything. Mia felt the burn return to her lungs, a sharp, searing heat that urged her to slow down. Her muscles tightened, and the ground seemed to pull at her feet, trying to anchor her to the track. She took a deep, forced breath, locking her eyes on the distant line. She pushed the sensation of pain into the background, focusing entirely on the rhythmic impact of her feet. As she rounded the corner, she saw the finish line clearly. It was no longer a distant goal, but a tangible point of arrival. She increased her cadence, her arms pumping with purpose. The air whistled past her ears. Every stride grew harder, yet her form remained tight and controlled. She drove her knees forward, ignoring the protest of her body. 5 yards, 3 yards. The world narrowed down to the white stripe on the grass. She lunged forward, her chest leading the way. The pressure in her lungs broke as she crossed the threshold, her face lighting up with a wide, bright smile. She had done it. The race was over, and she had finished exactly as she planned. The roar of the crowd surged around her, a wall of sound that drowned out the heavy thumping of her own heart. Mia stood still, her lungs slowly easing back into a natural rhythm. Father and mother reached her first. their faces bright with pride as they pulled her into a tight, grounding embrace. She leaned into them, feeling the sweat on her skin and the cool breeze returning to her face. She looked back at the path she had just conquered, not as a track, but as a series of small, deliberate efforts. The lesson settled in. The victory was not in the placement, but in the refusal to stop. She had started, and she had finished. That was the real strength. She wiped her forehead with a towel, standing taller than she had when the morning began. Growth was not a single moment of speed, but the accumulation of every step taken when the legs felt like lead. She looked toward the camera, her expression calm and resolved. Keep running toward your dreams, no matter the pace. Play, learn, and grow. See you next time on Kids Go Sports.
Yay! See you next time on Kids Go Sports. Bye!